Hi, 13th of September 2024, and we're going to look at some of the probably unknown mystical secrets of the equinox. Because I'm not just an astrologer, I've got a master's degree in cultural astronomy. Because of that, I tend to want to go in deeper and look further back into ancient cultures and see what they were mesmerized by when we get these extreme events. And they are extreme because they're all extremes of the sun's position with the earth. So although they're yearly, they cause phenomena that everybody notices. And for ancient cultures, this was an opportunity for them to examine the natural world around them. They got very much involved with it, and their secrets, their spiritual secrets, their mystical secrets, the way that they looked at this, what they thought of it, was probably more accurate than the one we have now, because they weren't contaminated by all the man-made electromagnetic vibrations and energies, etc., that we manufacture these days. So their atmosphere was less tainted, less contaminated. They had a purer view of the sky. There wasn't so much pollution. And so therefore they had access to incredible phenomena and secrets and deity, in actual fact. So we'll have a look at some of these because they're not the usual run-of-the-mill astrologer things. Okay, now we've got coming up two major events. And when we get these two major events so close together, it has a huge impact on our environment. Now, that's actually looking at it scientifically and not just astrologically. So I'm just going to share some stuff with you. Now, I've just been doodling. Honestly, I'm no artist, but in order not to steal other people's artwork, I just doodle myself because then I'm not committing plagiarism. So one of the things I want to do is just share with you. Well, first of all, let's look at this one. So these are the two dates that we've got coming up. So we've got a full moon eclipse on the 18th of September. That's around 2:30 in the morning UK time. But what I do need to tell you about full moon eclipses is that the moon never actually gets eclipsed in the same way that the sun does. There's never a chunk out of it. What happens is it simply goes into shadow. Normally a red shadow because of the different wavelengths of light. And it takes much longer than a solar eclipse, which is just over in minutes. The eclipse of the moon, and this is just a partial eclipse, it takes much longer because it's looking at everything from a different perspective. So instead of the moon crossing the sun, this time the Earth is getting between the sun and the moon, and so what we're seeing is the Earth shadow. The time there, 2:30-ish, is it's about right. It takes a few hours, and that's UK time. Okay, so that's the full moon eclipse. And then just 4 days later, we have the equinox, which this year is not on the 21st, it's on the 22nd. That can slip every 2 or 3 years. It will slip out of line with the 21st, and then it will be reset when we get a leap year and we put an extra day in, the 29th of February. That's why this date changes. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing on that now. And what I want to do is, in as the best way I can, is describe to you what is actually happening on the equinox so that you can understand some of the forces at work here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to a document that, yeah, okay, it's rough, but never mind. Right, this is my handiwork. Okay, so what I've tried to represent here is the sun. Okay, and what I've tried to represent here is the Earth in 3 different positions. Now, this is the equator. You need a lot of imagination here. This is the equator for each of these Earths. And because the Earth travels around the sun at a tilt, at different times of the year, the Earth is presenting a different face to the sun. Now, in this one, the northern hemisphere is nearest the sun or is being presented to the sun. So this is summer in the northern hemisphere, and this might well be the summer solstice. Now, in this one, the southern hemisphere is being presented broad onto the sun, and this might be the winter solstice, as if you're in the northern hemisphere. So yeah, I'll leave it like that. So if you're in the northern hemisphere, then your winter solstice looks like this, and if you're in the northern hemisphere, your summer solstice looks like this. But turn that around if you're in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so again, equator. Now, what's happening here is, as you can see, is the equator is tipped against the direct line of the sun. Okay. Now, equinox. This is the bottom one. And this is what's happening on the equinox. The Earth is actually at a 90, well, the Earth's equator is more or less at a 90-degree angle to the sun. And so we get this effect where it's neither extreme winter nor extreme summer. It's in the middle. And the sun on the equinox rises due east wherever you are on planet Earth. It's coming in due east. Now, there is an effect, a very different effect caused by this, and this is the mystical secret that I wanted to get over to you. The sun and the sun's rays are at a particular angle here to the equator, and therefore to the poles, the North Pole and the South Pole, and the Earth in general. Now, I'll just stop sharing there. Right, but remember this, remember that Earth there, and how it's sort of exactly in a line with the sun. Okay, at a 90-degree angle anyway. Stop share. Okay, right. Now, this equinox, the one coming up, is probably no different to other equinoxes, and it's probably no different to the equinox that we get in the spring on the 21st, around the 21st of March, because we have that same alignment. Now, would you believe that on the equinoxes, they are the most geomagnetically active times that we get on a yearly basis? So for the spring equinox around the 21st of March and the autumn equinox around the 21st of September, each of those every year is the most geomagnetically active time. So that means the energy that the Earth is receiving from the sun is at its height in terms of energy, ionization, the sheer volume of it. Now, this is something which the ancients were aware of. There is so much that the Egyptians, for instance, were aware of, and we just can only wonder how they knew. So it's when we get these very active times, we get auroras, for instance. So it's well known in astronomy, the science arm of looking at the stars, that we get these really active times for the Earth's atmosphere, the ionosphere. and that has a fallout. It has a fallout when it comes to the amount of electrically charged particles in the air. It has a fallout on weather. It filters down through the different levels of the atmosphere until it gets to the Earth's surface. And then there are minute, small differences. But those differences can be felt by beetles. They can be felt by slugs and snails. Just because human beings can't feel them, I think we must be the only creature that isn't aware of them. It doesn't mean to say that they aren't there. They are there, and we get left to us in the tombs and the temples of Egypt artwork which shows us how very important it was to the Egyptians. Now, in particular, if ever you've been to Luxor, then you may have gone to the temple of Dendera, Hathor's temple, where on the first floor we can see the artwork which describes, as far as the Egyptian art is concerned, a full moon and also the effect of the equinox, and how it makes the sun and the moon very powerful when they are rising and setting due east, which is not what they do at other times of the, well, it's not what the sun does at other times of the year. The moon's not far from it, but so when we get a full moon close to the equinox, then the Egyptians drew this in their own way, showing a figure holding two discs, the sun disk and the moon disk, and it showed the balance and the power and the harmony of the universe, the cosmos, their cosmological environment, and it was a hugely powerful thing. Osiris was very much involved because, of course, Osiris is so hugely powerful in Egypt, very much involved with the moon at that point when Dendera Temple was built just before the Romans, around the turn between the BC and AD, around that 001 time. That's when Dendera was the Dendera we've got now was built, although there was always a temple on it site previously. But okay, so this due east rising of the sun is quite frankly of huge importance. It really is, and because it's picking up the lines of the earth, and with that extra energy, there is a bigger infiltration from the sun. Now, as you know, because I've said this before, and this is my personal thing, nothing that I did at university, I believe that the sun can switch on and off viruses on the Earth's surface by flooding us with the information from solar radiation. And at these most geomagnetic times, the equinoxes, so in September and March, isn't it strange that this is when we get most of our cold viruses and our other viruses? Now they say, oh, it's because all the kids have gone back to school. Okay, I suppose we could put it like that. But I don't know. For me, there is something interesting about the fact that the sun is very active and we come down with viruses. Now, you will have heard me say this before if you follow my work. Viruses, and this is science, rewrite DNA in human beings. They invade a cell and they rewrite the DNA of that cell. So when the sun is so geomagnetically active, and it is, as far as I'm concerned, switching on or switching off viruses, I believe it is downloading or updating something important that it wants us to be updated with, like getting an update on a computer, new information coming in that rewrites codes. And so I think that this is how the sun communicates to unconscious beings and has the power to alter or change things on Earth. It's not just about heat and light. There is also powerful, magical, mystical energy or rays coming in from the sun. And when the sun gets to a certain powerful angle, like it does at the equinox, then a lot of work is done to us in our unconscious at a subliminal level. Okay, now do you see the importance? So let's look at what's going to happen astrologically now. I'm just going to share again, and this time I'm going to go to the astrology chart. Here we go. Now, this is set up for the 18th of September, which is the full moon, the eclipse full moon. It's about 2:30 UK time. This is almost 3 o'clock, but it's close enough. So we have the moon at 25 degrees of Pisces, and we have the sun at 25 degrees of Virgo. Okay, the zodiac signs are very important here. They are crucial. The zodiac sign energy is probably more important sometimes than the planetary energy. And at this particular time, it is more important because the zodiac signs are a result of the relationship between the sun and the earth. It's a portion of the sky at a certain angle where certain influences impact us. So I'm particularly interested about the moon in Pisces. Now, we want to be looking at meaning here. I assume that you want to know, well, what does that mean? I think we need to look at Pisces and remember that Pisces energy is symbolic of the dissolution, the dissolving of all things, the return of things to the primordial soup, from where Aries will spring new life. I think it's important. And if you saw my video from 2 days ago, which was a really important video about a sneak preview of the astrology for 2025, then you will see the link now between 2025 and what I'm talking to you about, because the dissolution, the closing down, the symbolical heading for sunset, which is going on at the moment, ready for the springing up of new life. Remember all those planets going into Aries next year? This is part of this symbolic closing down, and it is closing down like the moon heads towards the sun and eventually is drowned in the sun's light and has gone into the duat before it appears again, resurrected with new life. That just like that is the process that is happening, but on a bigger time frame. That's all, just a bigger time frame. So we're looking at next year as the new awakening, and we're looking at this year as the closing down, the dark moon period. So dissolution. So I think the effect it has, people will be looking at health issues, no doubt. I mean, the Pisces Virgo axis is about health, and that's it. So therefore, health issues are coming up. But it's also it's feminine. And so it is about reflections that of things like guilt and compassion, and a pining, a yearning and a longing for something more perfect than what we've got, or someone who seems so perfect, or a nirvana type of wishing. It's wishing on a star, really, looking up and remembering a time when there was no solid dimension, there was no earthy material stuff. It was all incorporeal, all spirit, a great white light, everything blended together. So it is about that. But it's also about the fact that, well, hey, we are here. This dimension did happen. There was a big bang. It happened. We're here, and we have got to sort it and organize it. And that's Virgo's job, to sort it and organize it. Now, I think the health thing comes up again because the sun is turning on and turning off viruses, which affects our immune system and gives us sore throats, colds, headaches, feverishness, whatever viruses that are flying around. So I think we've got issues to do with that because of that. Okay. Now, what about the equinox? I tell you what I'm going to do, because I've gone on so long, but I really did need to explain all these things to you. I'm not going to rush the equinox stuff. I'll do another video next week. I think, therefore, I'm not going to sell it short. I'm just going to stop sharing. Right, now I have covered with you there some this kind of stuff that astrologers don't normally cover, because not everybody has done the master's degree in cultural astronomy and astrology that I have done, and not everybody studies the science as heavily as I do. So I'm hoping that I haven't bamboozled you. If you would prefer just to have astrology and a prediction, then do tell me, because I don't want to be making videos that have all this content and then find out that the audience is dropping down because everybody's thinking, I'll find one that just tells me what's going to happen. I don't want you to leave, so I want you to have what you want. But hopefully you have enjoyed that, and you've enjoyed the deep dive into an explanation about why this time is more powerful. What is the relationship? What is the science? What is the reactions and the actions and the reactions that are happening? I hope you've enjoyed listening to that, because then for me it makes it more real. This is why I like to do it. Anyway, I will say have a fabulous weekend. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I hope it's all made sense. Do put in the comments if it didn't, and I'll explain it better. But I won't know what you've understood or didn't understand until you comment. So please let me know, and I'll be so grateful. Thank you. And I hope you have a great weekend. I've already said that. So anyway, so I'm going to say goodbye now. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, and don't forget to go to my website, AlisonChester-Lambert.com, and don't forget to buy my new book, The Easy Way to Learn Astrology. I never sell anything on these videos. I'm supposed to do some promotion. Sorry. Okay, bye.